45 degrees 51 minutes north by 10 degrees 50 minutes east. Those are the coordinates of the final resting place in Lake Garda, Italy, of 25 10th Mountain Division soldiers who drowned on April 30th, 1945, just days before the end of the war. This is where the U.S. Army Garrison Italy commander, Colonel Scott Horrigan, the Torbole mayor, Gianni Morandi, and the Consul General of Milan, Douglas Benning, placed a wreath for the fallen soldiers while dozens on board watched. The 25 who drowned here were in an amphibious wheeled vehicle known as a duck. The vehicle was crossing Lake Garda and started to take on water and quickly sank, leaving only one survivor. Garda is the largest lake in Italy, and the depth where the soldiers remain is 905 feet. On land, hundreds of Italians and Americans turned out to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the multiple tragedies that happened in the beautiful alpine lakefront town of Torbole during World War II. The same day in 1945, on the shore of Lake Garda, two senior leaders of the 10th Mountain Division, Colonel William Darby and his Sergeant Major, John Evans, were killed when an artillery shell landed near their position.
For me, being a sergeant major and also a ranger, being this ground is, I feel honored. I feel privileged to be in this ground where 80 years ago, Sergeant Major Evans, along with his teammate, Colonel Darby, Brigadier General Darby, gave the ultimate sacrifice to fight for freedom.
More than 25 Rangers traveled from the U.S. to pay their respects to Colonel Darby, who trained and led the very first Ranger Battalion in 1942.
It just cements how important it is to continue in our organization. You know, we always remember our fallen Rangers, so to see this still happening 80 years later, it's honorable.
Some ran or even walked a 40-mile event to remember Colonel William Darby and Sergeant Major John Evans and the other soldiers who died in this area.
Oh, I have the utmost respect for anybody who fought here. That was a very challenging run, and anybody who can fight in the mountains can fight anywhere.
All the soldiers who came wanted one thing: to remember those that came before.
You're only here for a certain amount of time, so you're eventually going to leave the organization, and the only people that can continue on the legacy of our fallen are the guys who are remaining in the organization, and they'll pass it on just like we pass it on.
Some offered hope for the future.
This anniversary is a moment to reflect on our history and renew our commitment to the principles of freedom, dignity, and cooperation among nations. May the legacy of those who endured this war inspire us to build a future rooted in understanding and hope.
The story of the sacrifices of the American soldiers made an impact on a team who researched and produced a documentary telling the story of the 25 10th Mountain soldiers called The Lost Mountaineers.
It's the story of more than 20 young men who came here to fight for our freedom and our democracy. They remained here. Above all, it's about uniting the history of two peoples, the Italians and the Americans, and more broadly, all of Europe. We hope this also inspires a future of peace.
Visiting Torbole, there are numerous reminders of the lost mountaineers.
These guys are here on the lake. These guys didn't go home. They didn't go to the American cemetery in Florence. They're here. So we feel doing our little bit to show to the families that we're in contact with, that although they don't have, the families don't have a place to remember them, that we know where they are, and they're in a beautiful place, Lake Garda, and they've been honored.
8 days after the tragedies here, the war ended. For U.S. Army Garrison Italy, I'm Randy Jackson.